Have you ever wondered if those hours you spend in front of the TV or other media sources have an effect on you? This essay is going to be dedicated to helping you realize the strong effect that the media has on children today. It has been proven that violence in the media has a long-term effect on children and the actions that they choose to take in life. Statistical research has been done to prove that the media actually does have a negative effect on children. Long gone are the days that parents lock their children outside to play all day and only let them come in for dinner. Nowadays, kids are spending more and more time in front of the TV, on their cell phones, playing video games, or staring at a computer screen. All of these uses of the media have an effect on them, which is why this essay will be focused towards parents or future parents who want to help steer their children in the right direction. Lastly, this paper will inform you of some of the dangers that can occur and ultimately will become a little more aware and find some alternative ways we can help keep our children occupied without the harmful effects that the media brings into their lives. I present this message to American families all across the United States, with or without children. The questions that we are faced with as parents or future parents should be this. Should I let my child spend hours using media devices? Will the media truly affect my child's thoughts and behaviors? Dr. Jonathan Wood answers those questions best by saying, on average, children and adolescents spend more than 6 hours a day with media, more time than in formal classroom instruction. It is now clear that media has an influence on a variety of health issues, including sex, drugs, aggressive behavior, obesity, eating disorders, and suicide. While the media are not the leading cause of any pediatric health problem in the United States, they do make a substantial contribution to many health problems. After reading this essay, I hope that you will be able to first be aware of the dangers that the media presents, and second, learn how to monitor your child's consumption of the media. According to family psychologist Katie Brown, he says, quote, there is consistent evidence that violent imagery in television, film, and video and computer games has substantial short-term effect on arousal, thoughts, emotions, which increases the likelihood of aggressive or fearful behavior in younger children, especially in boys, close quote. Just like Katie Brown has mentioned that it truly doesn't have an effect on us, I have seen it firsthand. I really like the quote that says, the filth through which the brain passes is never the same. That quote really backs up my thoughts of how the media has an impression on children. Once you've seen something over and over again, whether you think so or not, it becomes something that you subconsciously or even consciously think about. Also, the amount of times that you see the violence in the media, the more you will convince yourself that it is okay. Aside from seeing it firsthand, I have read all about this topic, spoke with parents who have seen it firsthand, and weighed out the pros and cons of the media, which has made me even more confident in my stance. Although I have not studied child development in college or anything along those lines, children have always been a passion of mine, and I have studied a lot about the media. As a matter of fact, last semester I took a class called Media, which focused on every aspect of it. After taking that class, my eyes were opened to the effects that it really has on us, especially on the younger ones. Among others, today I want to talk about the effects that media has, namely on violence, sexuality, and nutrition. According to Pediatrics Health Center, quote, they say, the influence of the media on psychosocial development of children is profound. Thus, it is important to provide guidance on age-appropriate use of all media, including television, radio, music, video games, and internet. Among that statement, there have been other researches that have been gone on to prove that the media truly affects the brain and how we interact with others. I love the saying, the filth through which the brain passes is never the same. Although it can sound a little silly, there is definite truth to it. We can never take back what we did or saw, which mainly reflects upon the media. When it comes to TV, pediatrics also have to say, quote, the average child sees 12,000 violent acts on television annually, including many depictions of murder or rape. More than 1,000 studies confirm that exposure to heavy dosage of television violence that the media can cause, it increases our aggressive behavior. Aside from violence, it can take a toll on our learning and different vital everyday functions, close quote. The amount of time that children spend in front of TV or other things influence the medium's effect on children, which include the child's developmental level, individual susceptibility, and whether children watch television alone or with their parents. When it comes to sexuality and the sacredness of it, television is right there to change your view. First, let me give you some background information, then we'll move on to the statistics. Television exposes children to adult sexual behaviors in ways that portray these actions as normal and risk-free, sending the message that these behaviors are frequent, that everybody does it. Also, teens rank the media as a leading source of information about sex, second only to school sex education programs. Numerous studies document adolescents' susceptibility to the media's influence on their sexual attitudes, values, and their beliefs. Spending time with the media automatically eliminates opportunities of physical fitness whatsoever. So we can assume that children who spend time watching excessive television aren't physically fit. Television viewing makes a substantial contribution to obesity because primetime commercials promote unhealthy dietary practices. Likewise, 90% of the commercials that are shown on television have to do with fast food, alternative sweeteners, cereals, and candy. After reading the different studies that have been done to detect the effects of media, you may be convinced that media is a harmful tool. Though generally speaking it is, fortunately, the media does provide great opportunities for learning and for growth. For example, the television series of Sesame Street is to provide chances to learn about kindness, how to interact with others, cooperation, and racial harmony. Along with that, some public television programs stimulate visits to the zoo, libraries, bookstores, museums, and other recreational settings, and educational videos can serve as powerful pro-social teaching devices. There are some benefits from watching uplifting and educational programs. In closing, Dr. Jonathan Wood says, the media is a powerful teacher of children and adolescents. The only question is, what are they learning and how can it be modified? When children and adolescents spend time with media, more time with media than they do in school or any other activity, except for sleeping, they pay much closer attention to the influence that it has on them. The media truly is a tool that can be used for good, but normally isn't uplifting and enriching. I wouldn't have chosen this topic unless I have a huge desire to make people more aware of it and the potential outcomes of excessive media use. We have family friends in Utah who had a son actually commit suicide because of something that was said on Twitter or Facebook. It's hard to think that someone would take his or her life over something so small, which just proves that it isn't small. It does have a big effect on us, whether we think so or not. The media truly has an effect on us, and hopefully from my argument, you can see that moderation in media consumption helps our children and ourselves to have better thoughts, decisions, and actions.